Hello everyone. Welcome to today's session on goods and service tax. Today we are going to learn about the e-way bill under GST. E-way bill or the electronic way bill that is required for the movement of goods. So before we proceed with this session, let us quickly see what we have done in our previous session. So in our previous session we learned about the e-invoicing under GST. E-invoicing under GST is an electronic invoicing system designed to streamline and standardize the B2B invoices and certain other documents. Then we learned about how the e-invoices are different from the traditional invoicing. We studied the components of an e-invoice like the document type code, then supplier and recipient details, invoice details, shipping and dispatch details, and so on. Afterwards, we learned the applicability of e-invoicing, that is, e-invoicing is mandatory for businesses whose aggregate annual turnover exceeds rupees 5 crores in any preceding financial year from 2017-18 onwards. That is, the eligibility is not only to be seen from the preceding financial year but from 2017-18 onwards. Then we learned about the generation of e-invoice and the common mistakes that are usually committed at the time of generation of e-invoice. So let us now proceed with today's session, that is e-way bill under GST. So e-way bill is required for the movement of goods under goods and service tax. Transporters should carry an e-way bill when moving the goods from one place to another. It must be a valid e-way bill and it is valid across India if the value of consignment exceeds a specified limit. So under GST, an electronic way bill is required for movement of goods. A registered person cannot transport goods in a vehicle whose value exceeds rupees 50,000, whether single invoice or bill or a delivery challan, without an e-way bill that is generated on ewaybill.gov.in. So what are the components of an e-way bill? So e-way bill is divided into two components, that is part A and part B. The person required to issue e-way bill should fill the different details in part A and part B is to be filled up by the transporter. So in part A, details like details of GSTIN of recipient, place of delivery with PIN code, invoice or challan number and date, value of goods, HSN code or SAC code, although SAC is not applicable as e-way bill is not required in case of services. Then transport document number, that is we call the consignment note, or goods receipt number or railway receipt number or airway bill number or bill of lading number, and reasons for such transportation is required to be filled up in the e-way bill. While as far as part B is concerned, it comprises of transporter details, for example vehicle number. So part B is to be filled up by the transporter concerned. Then when should e-way bill be issued? E-way bill will be generated when there is a movement of goods in a vehicle or a conveyance of value more than rupees 5,000. Such value can either be of each invoice or in aggregate of all invoices in a vehicle or a conveyance. In relation to a supply, for reasons other than supply, say in relation to a sales return, then due to inward supply from an unregistered person. For this purpose, a supply may be either of the following, that is a supply made for a consideration, that is payment in course of business, a supply made for a consideration, that is payment which may not be in the course of business, and a supply without consideration. In simplest term, the term supply usually mean a sale of goods and payment made, transfer, that is branch transfer for instance, and barter or exchange where payment is by goods instead of money. So in all such circumstances, e-way bills is required to be issued if the value exceeds rupees 50,000. Therefore, e-way bill must be generated on the common portal for all these type of movements. For certain specified goods, the e-way bill needs to be generated mandatorily even if the value of consignment of goods is less than 50,000. In case of interstate movement of goods by principal to the job worker, by principal or registered job worker. So, interstate movement of goods require mandatory generation of e-way bill. Then interstate transport of handicraft goods by a dealer exempted from GST registration. In such a case also, generation of e-way bill is mandatory. Then who all are required to generate e-way bill? A registered person. E-way bill must be generated when there is a movement of goods of more than rupees 50,000 in value to or from a registered person. A registered person or the transporter may choose to generate and carry e-way bill even if the value of goods is less than rupees 50,000. So, voluntarily also e-way bill can be generated by the registered person or the transporter. Then unregistered person. Unregistered persons are also required to generate e-way bill. However, where a supply is made by an unregistered person to a registered person, the receiver will have to ensure all the compliances are met as if they were the supplier. So, unregistered persons are also required to generate e-way bills. Then the transporter. Transporters carrying the goods by road, air, rail or by any other mode also need to generate e-way bills. If the supplier has not generated an e-way bill but are not required to generate the e-way bill where all the consignments are in the conveyance. To understand this, let us take an example. For individually, single document, that is a single invoice, is less than or equal to rupees 50,000, but in aggregate of all the documents put in together, that is all the invoices or delivery challan when put in together exceeds rupees 50,000, then the transporter is required to generate the e-way bill. Then there are certain cases when e-way bill is not required to be generated. So, the modes of transport is non-motor vehicle. So, in GST, those motor vehicles which is less than 25 cc are exempted to be considered for generation of e-way bill. Then goods transported from customs port, airport, air cargo complex or land custom stations to inland container depot or container freight stations for clearance by the customs. So, in these cases also e-way bill generation is not required. Then goods transport under the customs supervision or under customs seal also doesn't require e-way bill. Goods transported under custom bond from inland container depot to custom port or from one custom station to another, then also e-way bill is not required. Then transit cargo transported to or from Nepal or Bhutan. These are the exemptions or exceptions we can say where e-way bill is not required. Then movement of goods caused by defense formation under Ministry of Defense as a consignor or consignee. So in either of the cases e-way bill is not required. Empty cargo containers are being transported, then also e-way bill is not required. Then consignor transporting goods to or from between the place of business and a way bridge for payment at a distance of 20 kilometers accompanied by a delivery challan. So in such a case, a delivery challan will be sufficient for the movement of goods for weighing purpose. Goods being transported by rail where the consignor of goods is the central government, state government or a local authority. In such case also the e-way bill is not required. Goods specified as exempt from e-way bill requirement in the respective state or union territory GST rules. In case of transportation of such exempt goods also e-way bill shall not be required. Then transport of certain specified goods includes the list of exempt supplies of goods Annexure to Rule 138.14, goods treated as no supply as per Schedule 3, certain Schedule 2, central tax rate notifications and other notifications as from time to time released by the department. In such cases also e-way bills will not be required. So part B of e-way bill is not required to be filled where the distance between the consignor or the consignee and the transporter is less than 50 kilometers and transport is within the same state, that is in case of intrastate. Then what is the time limit to generate the e-way bill? Earlier there was no time limit set for generating e-way bills. However, there was a validity given for every e-way bill explained in the next. Time limit to generate e-way bill. Earlier there was no time limit set for generating e-way bills. However, starting from 1st January 2025 you can generate e-way bills on documents dated within 180 days. For example, document dated earlier than 5th of July 2024 will be ineligible for e-way bill generation from 1st January 2025. The update is as per the GST and advisory dated 17 December 2024. So now there has been a capping on the time limit for generation of e-way bill, and any invoice or delivery challan that pertain to prior period later than 180 days, e-way bill in such a case will not be generated. So next we have validity of e-way bill. An e-way bill is valid for a period as listed in this schedule, which is based on the distance traveled by the goods. So the e-way bill will be based on the type of conveyance, distance, and as per the distance the validity will be determined. So other than over dimensional cargoes, that is normal cargoes, the distance less than 200 kilometers, the validity is 1 day. For every additional 200 kilometers or part thereof, an additional 1 day is available. Then for over dimensional cargoes, if the distance to be traveled is less than 20 kilometers, then the validity will be 1 day, and for every additional 20 kilometer or part thereof, there will be additional 1 day available. Validity can also be extended by the generator of such e-way bill either 8 hours before the expiry or within 8 hours of the expiry of such e-way bills. So e-way bill validity extension is capped at 360 days from the original generation date starting from 1st January 2025. So next we will see what are the documents or details required to generate e-way bill. So the e-way bill portal requires mandatory fields of invoices. So invoice or bill of supply or challan related to the consignment of goods is required. Then the transporter details in case of transport by road, or transporter ID or vehicle number is mandatory, and transport by rail, air or ship, then the transporter ID and transporting document number and date of the document is a mandatory requirement. While in movement, a vehicle can be blocked by the proper officer for verification of documents including e-way bill or inspection of goods. So carrying a e-way bill is a must in case of movement of goods. So let us now proceed to see how e-way bills are generated on the Waybill portal. The e-way bill portal provides a seamless gateway to generate e-way bills, single and consolidated. Both the options are available. Change vehicle numbers on already generated e-way bill and cancel generated e-way bills, and many more options are available on the Waybill portal. So e-way bill in EWB01 can be generated either by two methods, that is on the web and via SMS. If e-invoicing is applicable, then e-way bills fetches the data from the e-invoicing portal. What are the prerequisites for e-way bill generation? There are some mandatory requirements for generation of e-way bill, that is the registration on the e-way bill portal, then the invoice, bill or challan related to the consignment of goods must be in hand for entering the respective data. If transport is by road, then the transporter ID or vehicle number is required. If transport is by rail, air or ship, then transporter ID, transport document number and the date on the document, that is document date, is a must. So let us see the step-by-step process of generating e-way bill. First we have to log into the e-way bill portal using our login credentials. The portal is ewaybillgst.gov.in. So this is the home page appearing on the screen. Next, click on generate new under the e-way bill option appearing on the left hand side of the dashboard. This will take us for the generation of new e-way bill. Then enter the details on the screen that appears. First, transaction type. Select outward if you are a supplier of consignment. Select inward if you are a recipient of the consignment. Then subtype is to be selected. Select the relevant subtype applicable to you. If transaction type selected outward, then two type of screen will appear. One is supply, export, job work, SKD or CKD. What is this SKD or CKD? SKD implies semi knockdown condition and CKD completely knockdown condition. Then recipient not known, for own use, exhibition or fairs, line sales or others. So we have to select the appropriate option from among these options. If the transaction type is selected is inward, then there will be options, that is supply, import, again SKD, CKD, job work return, sales return, exhibition or fairs for own use and others. So we have to again choose the appropriate option. Next, we have to select the document type. Select either of invoice, bill, challan, credit note, bill of entry or others if our document is not in the list. Then the document number, enter the document number or the invoice number. Then document date appearing in the document has to be entered. The system will not allow the user to enter future date. So generating e-way bills on a future date is not possible. From and to, depending on whether you are supplier or a recipient, enter the to from section details. That is, in the from side we have to enter the supplier's detail and to is the recipient details. Then we have to enter the item details, that is the goods that the cargo is carrying. It should include product name, description, HSN code, quantity, unit, value or taxable value, taxable rate, that is CGST, SGST and IGST rates, then tax rate of cess if applicable. So these details are required to be filled in about the item details. Then transporter details. The mode of transport, that is road, rail, ship, air, and the approximate distance covered in kilometers needs to be compulsorily mentioned in the part B, that is the transporter details. Apart from the above, either of the details can be mentioned, that is transporter name, transporter ID, transporter document number and date, or vehicle number in which consignment is being transported. So this is the format of vehicle number AB12, AB1234. Next, upon the submission, the system validates the data and throws up an error if some data are missing or erroneous. Otherwise, our request is processed and the e-way bill in form EWB01 will be generated. It will be a unique 12-digit number way bill. So the generated way bill looks like this. It has e-way bill number, e-way bill date, then generated by the party who has generated, valid from and valid to. Then in part A, there will be GSTIN of the recipient, place of delivery, invoice number, invoice date, value of goods, HSN code, reason for transportation, then transport number and name, transport doc and date. In part B, there will be transporter's detail. So that's it for this session. Thank you so much.